Hello and welcome to English at RCS. I'm Mr. Skirrow, one of the English teachers, and I'm going to be talking to you a bit about what to expect when you join us in Year 7, and I'm going to talk you through a bit of an activity that you're going to be doing as well. Now, here is the team of English teachers at RCS. Some of you will have met some of these teachers if you came up to our masterclasses shortly before lockdown kicked in. There are 12 teachers in our English department at the moment, and all of them will be teaching next year, apart from Miss Vickers, who's just gone off to have a baby. And I think everyone apart from myself and Mr. Hammonds has got an English class next year. So you hopefully will become very familiar with all of our English team. They're a very friendly bunch. So, what does English look like in Year 7? Well, you'll kick things off with a study of Roald Dahl and some of Roald Dahl's most famous stories in Half Term 1. Once you've done that, we'll then move on to an introduction to Shakespeare. So you'll learn all about the lifetime of William Shakespeare, what it was like when he was writing his plays, and you'll get to study some extracts from some of his most famous plays. Then, half term 3, we'll do a unit of work on love and romance. Now, that's all about poetry, short stories, articles, variety of different texts, all with that theme of love and romance. And that is intended to set you up for half term 4 when you'll be studying Romeo and Juliet as a full Shakespeare play. In half term 5, we move on to a unit of work about rich and poor, and that sets you up nicely for the novel study of The Secret Garden in half term 6. So that's your year in Year 7. That's how it looks like. That's what it looks like all mapped out. And hopefully it's a year you're going to really enjoy. Now, what else do we do at RCS? Well, we do something called Word of the Week, which is a starter task that we do in our first English lesson of each week, and it's designed to help you to broaden your vocabulary. So you'll be learning lots and lots of new words that you'll be able to use in your other lessons. We also do something called Book of the Week. Now, Book of the Week is where you will study a sample extract from a book taken from our list of 50 books to read before you leave RCS. And there'll be some real classics in there. These are essential books that are must-reads before you leave us when you're 16. So let's have a go at an activity then to give you a taste of what to expect in an English lesson at RCS. So we're going to have a look at an extract from a book called Refugee Boy by Benjamin Zephaniah. It's one of my favourite books. Now, before we actually have a look at this opening chapter, I've got a quick entrance quiz for you to do to see what you already know. So in a moment, you'll pause the video and have a go at these 3 multiple choice questions. When you've done that, I want you to have a go at predicting what you think this book might be about based on the title and the picture of the front cover that you can see on the screen. So pause the video now and take a couple of minutes to have a go at my entrance quiz and prediction task. Okay, so here are the answers then that you hopefully managed to find. So question 1, what is a refugee? Well, a refugee is someone who has had to leave their country to be safe, and they've had to flee to another country. Question 2, where are the countries of Ethiopia and Eritrea? They are in Africa, and these are 2 countries that are featured in this book. Thirdly, what is a traitor? Now, a traitor is someone who has betrayed their country. So hopefully you got all those questions right, and hopefully you've managed to pull together a few ideas about what this book could be about. Right, so here's an extract then from Refugee Boy. This is the opening chapter. It's quite a short chapter, and what we're going to do is I'm going to read this extract out for you. Then you're going to pause the video, and as a group you're going to work out the meaning of the words that are underlined, and then you'll have a go at doing a bit of a summarising task, which you can either do verbally or you can write it down. It's up to you to work out what you've learnt about the extract. So let's have a read and see what we think. So, Refugee Boy by Benjamin Zephaniah. As the family lay sleeping, soldiers kicked down the door of the house and entered, waving their rifles around erratically and shouting at the top of their voices. Alum ran into the room where his parents were, to find they had been dragged out of their bed, dressed only in their night clothes, and forced to stand facing the wall. A soldier who was in command went and stood so that his mouth was 6 inches away from Alum's father's ear, and shouted, "What kind of man are you?" Alum's father shuddered with fear. His voice trembled as he replied, "I am an African." Alum looked on terrified as the soldier shot a number of bullets into the floor around the feet of his father and mother. His mother screamed with fear, "Please leave us. We only want peace." The soldier continued shouting, "Are you Ethiopian or Eritrean? Tell us. We want to know." "I am an African," Alum's father replied. The soldier raised his rifle and pointed it at Alum's father. "You are a traitor." He turned and pointed the rifle at Alum's mother. "And she is the enemy." Then he turned and pointed the rifle at Alum's forehead. "And he is a mongrel." Turning back to Alum's father, he dropped his voice and said, "Leave Ethiopia or die." So, pause the video for me now then. Have a go at clarifying the words underlined in green. Work out what they mean for me. Discuss that as a group. Then, have a go at discussing or writing a summary of what you've learnt about the extract, and think in particular about those 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. Pause the video now. Okay, so here's a quick exit quiz then to see what you learned and what you found out from that reading of Refugee Boy. So, 5 questions on the screen. Discuss them as a group and pause the video now to have a go at them. Here are your answers. So, what does it mean if the soldiers wave around their rifles erratically? In this case, it means they're unpredictable. Second question. Why do the soldiers wave around their rifles erratically? Well, the reason is to intimidate Alum's family. Third question. What does the soldier call Alum in the extract? The answer is C, a mongrel. Fourth question. How does this make Alum feel? I think it would make him feel unwelcome. And lastly, what does Alum's father say when he doesn't want to take sides? Alum's father replies, "I am an African." Okay then. So last thing from me. A common question we are asked as teachers at RCS is, what can I do to prepare for Year 7 English? It's a question that parents ask us, and it's a question that students ask us quite regularly. And the answer is simple. Read. So here is our 50 book list. 50 books to read before you leave RCS. Now, luckily for you, you've got plenty of time to get through as many of these books as you can, because obviously you've not yet joined us. But in the next 5 years, we hope that you can try and read as many of these books as you can. Now, obviously this is quite small on the screen that you're looking at right now, and you might not be able to see all the titles of these books. That doesn't matter, they're all on our school website. If you just type in Royal Marsh Community School, 50 books to read before you leave RCS, you will find the full list available to look at there. But hopefully you'll see some books on here that you recognise. There might be 1 or 2 you've already read, and if there's any you want to ask us about in September, then obviously we'll happily give you some advice and some top tips on which books to start with. So that's everything from me. I'm Mr. Skiro. I look forward to seeing you when you join us, all being well in September, and I hope you've enjoyed your introduction to English at RCS.